Hi. So just got home from the Y, taking my youngest son Trevor for a swim, and figured I better put together some of these videos before the collection got too lengthy, with his ground manners and his etiquette, and explaining a little bit about what I'm looking at and doing. This is where it's even harder to explain as far as steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's a lot of different tools that you can use when it comes to especially fixing bad behavior in this aspect. So what he was doing is, when I was walking by with the hay bag or hay, is as he was getting more comfortable with me, you could tell he has a history of it. He was swinging his hip towards me. He lifted his leg. A couple times he kind of tried to nip at my shoulder or my arm, like, give me my food now. It looked like he had a history of this, and obviously by the way he was doing it, looked like it worked in some form or another. Obviously he was trying it because it worked in his past. Not okay. And I'm not going to get big and escalate and break what trust we had and do anything huge and scary, because I don't want a big reaction out of him. I'm trying to bring about calm in him and reset him with calm, and so I need to be calm and teach him what he is supposed to do, not just correct, this is not what I don't want you to do, but what are you supposed to do? What is the appropriate behavior? And that's where positive reinforcement and a bridge comes in, because it doesn't just say, no, I don't want you to do this, but yes, this is what I do want you to do. And there's a couple different tools, and this is where it's timing as far as quick decision making. And you might go in there and have a vision and picturing, okay, this is the step I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to address this scenario. But based on what he does and how he acts in that moment, you might make a decision to change that scenario and bridge something else, something that you see. So you'll hear me say often the term set him up to succeed, which yes, I want to do, but at the same time, if you avoid the situation, they're never gonna learn. So it's a fine line between set him up to succeed and almost tempting him to fail. I don't want to make it sound really bad, but the problem is there, and as much as we avoid it, if it ever happens again, I'd rather him learn, okay, if somebody ever has a hay bag in front of me, this is what I should do. This is the appropriate way to act. So I'm walking in purposely with a hay bag. Now I digress there. The two ways you can do, or there's a few, is one, just overall ground manners, and this is where Liberty was handy, is him knowing that even if he's not on a halter, not on a lead, if somebody's around you, where to walk, not to turn your head in, not to block, not to cut off, having that personal space bubble. And so I proactively try to sometimes move my arm there, keep my elbows out a little bit, trying to give him that little bit of that space, and intermittently, every so often, will bridge and reinforce him for being where he is supposed to be. And he'll pick up on, oh, if I'm out here, she likes that, this is where the reinforcement comes. Also, there's two things called a DRI and a DRO, one of which you ask, one you kind of capture a grab. So the DRI is, I have horses right on the other side of me talking to me right now. The DRI is differential reinforcement for an incompatible behavior. You might see me targeting his face away from the hay bag. If he's touching my hand, that is incompatible with lunging at the hay bag or lunging at my arm or anything like that. So it's impossible to do those two things simultaneously at the same time. There's a couple times where he on his own turned his head away. One time it was even a little bit big, but I went ahead and took it and I bridged it. It was a DRO, differential reinforcement for an other behavior. He did something other than moving towards the hay bag. And so I'm like, brav, fine, good. You did something other than doing the hay bag. So I'm just kind of zeroing in on reinforcements come for ignoring the hay bag, not lunging at it, not towards me. And then as we go on, tightening that criteria. And I have three video clips. One was from yesterday, and then one was actually from today. He eats fast. Even in a slow feed net, I give him access to food constantly. Now overnight, even with that slow feed net, he does run out of hay. So come morning time, he seems to have a pretty decent food drive first thing in the morning. So that first time in the morning coming out with the hay bag, he tends to be a lot more amped to get to the hay. And already today it's getting better. And so I'm purposely taking the long route to the hook, making it practice. And first couple days, because and as the first couple weeks were, and the first couple days working this, my body language was calm. It was slow. I didn't want to elicit any big responses from him. And now I'm kind of stepping it up a little bit. He knows now it's safe. Nothing's going to happen. But now he needs to know, you do not come in my bubble unless I ask. And so I occasionally not only ask him to target away from me, but we might stop and back him up. Each time I hang up the hay bag, I'm backing him away from it. We're hanging out before he gets it right away. So he doesn't anticipate, oh, it's up, I get to charge in and eat it right away. You might have to wait. You might have to wait a minute. You might have to wait 2 minutes. I might hang it up and we might walk across the pasture and do a totally different session. Just because the hay bag's there doesn't mean all of a sudden you get to charge it and start eating right away. And just takes away that importance of the hay bag, and we're focusing on other things. But again, walking more now with confidence, with bold, I'm in charge. You do not get to tell me when you eat. I'm bringing it in. You stay out of my bubble until it's safe to come in. And he's getting pretty well. I think he knows it's safe. I'm not going to throw anything at him. I'm not swatting him. I'm not hitting him or bumping him back or anything like that. It's a nice, small, tiny little backup on his chest. Nothing really big. If you want a small reaction, you give a small action. Doesn't need to be over the top. It's just going to be a softer little response in that aspect. It's on the floor right now. I just had one flake left, so I brought it out now. And then we'll refill it again. So this is going to be a big thing I'm working the last couple weeks that he's here, along with, of course, the fly spray and the hooves, which we've been doing a lot. But I just wanted to kind of explain all this the best I could. As you see these sessions, I'm probably going to film a few clips of these throughout the day, different times over the course of the next week, and purposely set things up tricky, sometimes with a bag, maybe sometimes big flake of hay right in my hand, right in front of him. It may or may not ever happen in his future very much, but it's almost a little test of patience and respect that he needs to see, and he needs to tolerate, and he needs to be okay with. And both he and the people need to be safe in those scenarios. It's just basic manners and respects that he needs to know. He's a good little pony, little cutie pie, and he'll do great. That's all.